guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing extremely well. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to perfect your under eye highlights and how I stop creasing, how I prevent it, how I set my concealer using the baking method. Now, baking is a technique that I mention a lot in my videos, which is pretty much when you apply a fair amount of powder underneath your eyes, leave it there for a little bit for your concealer to set, and then you kind of dust it off. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that. I'm going to show you guys how to perfect your under eye, and yeah, so I'm just going to jump into it and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so starting off, I've already applied my foundation. I don't have any powder on my face and I don't have anything applied at all in my under eye area. So the first thing that I'm going to do is apply an eye cream. This is probably the most important step because it preps your under eye. Applying an eye cream hydrates it, makes it plumper, gives you a more awake look, and also the plumpness kind of fills in those creases and makes wrinkles a little bit less visible. And I kind of mentioned this in my previous video, my foundation routine. I kind of spoke about that a little bit. But as my previous video, the eye cream that I have been using is the Kiehl's Multi-Corrective Eye Opening Serum. I have been using this lately, but typically what I use on myself and what I use on my clients is the Bobbi Brown Hydrating Eye Cream. I would be using this today to show you guys, but I have completely run out. I have scraped this thing dry. This is an amazing eye cream. I definitely recommend it. But today I'm going to be using the Kiehl's Super Multi-Corrective Eye Opening Serum. Now, this eye cream is made to lift and firm your under eyes and around your eyes, so this is perfect for this type of application. This, as I said, lifts, firms, giving your skin that more youthful look. It makes your under eyes look a lot plumper, your bags a little less visible, so this is a really good one to try if you're looking for a good eye cream. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that, and I'm just taking a little bit on my ring finger and kind of splitting it between the two and just dabbing that underneath. And it's good to use your ring finger because this is your most delicate finger and it doesn't pull and tug on your under eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sit and kind of absorb into my skin for a few minutes. I'll probably leave it for about 5 to 10 minutes and then move on to the actual makeup. Okay, so to achieve this look, I like to use a very full coverage and thick concealer. Thick concealers are my absolute favorite for the under eye. A lot of people are really scared to use them because sometimes they do have a tendency to crease, but when set right, they will not crease on you. Now, my favorite concealer of life is the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. I have mentioned this before to you guys. It is hands down a holy grail concealer of mine. This is my absolute favorite. It's super thick, super pigmented, and doesn't crease. That's the name, Creaseless Concealer. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. Sorry, this is the shade Light Medium Sand. So I'm going to take a bit of that and just apply it to the back of my hand. And I don't know if you guys can see, but it's actually like really thick. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just going to take that and just dab it underneath my eyes, just at the very bottom of that eye bag. I'm not going to bring this all the way up. I'm just going to apply that. So I would typically use a brush for this part, but on myself, I just prefer to use my fingers. Just because it helps blend out those edges a lot better. So I'm just applying that. And I'm applying this more upwards because when you bring your highlight up, it gives you a more lifted look with your eye. So I'm going to just keep applying that. And I didn't apply too much. It's still just that small amount and just blending it upwards. So once I've applied that to both of my eyes, I'm going to take a damp beauty blender and I'm going to start blending that out. And as you can see, because I did blend it out with my finger beforehand when applying it, it is blending into my skin a lot better and a lot easier. And I didn't bring this all the way up because I do have a lot of, well, not a lot, but some pretty deep finer lines underneath my eye socket. So what I do is I take the beauty blender and I kind of push that concealer up. This way, when it's covering that, it's not so much a heavy application. It's just a more blended, lighter kind of application, but it's less likely to crease this way. And I'm also going to bring that into my inner tear duct. So now that I've done with the first concealer, I am actually going to go into the second concealer on top of that. And this is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Medium Custard, Holy Grail as well. I'm actually going to take that and apply that on top of where I applied the Tarte concealer. So I'm going to take the applicator and just apply it on top of that eye bag. And you don't want to be too heavy-handed with this. So just like so. Okay, so now that's applied, I'm going to go back in with my beauty blender and blend that out. And I know a lot of people are going to think that this is a lot of concealer, but this is just what I do to achieve that under eye. By all means, feel free to not do it if you're not comfortable with so much product. Okay, so now it's time to set this. So the powder that I'm using to set my concealer is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I'm going to be using my Inglot 4SS blending brush to set that with. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit in the lid, not too much, swirl my brush into it so it takes it all in, and tap it out, tap out the excess. And before I go in and set that, I'm going to take my beauty blender again and just make sure that all those creases are gone, because once you set it and there are creases in there, you can't get those creases out. Now I will have lines left over because that's just my natural eye shape. I can't get rid of that. But the beauty of this highlighted under eye look is that when you do take a photo with flash photography, you will not see them at all. So that's always a plus. So I've just smoothed that out, and then I'm just going to take the brush with the powder on it and lightly tap. Just lightly tap that on. As you can see, we are setting that in, but using very minimal powder. And now I'm actually going to take the beauty blender with the remaining concealer and dab it onto my chin and my forehead to just really even that out. And just a little bit underneath the hollows of my cheekbone. This also helps make your contour look a little bit more prominent. Now I haven't applied my contour yet. I will be actually doing that in the next video, but just to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so moving on to the fun part, I'm going to show you guys how to bake. Now, there are so many methods to baking. You can just use a normal brush to apply your powder. A lot of artists use a damp beauty blender, but what I like to do is I like to take a basic wedge sponge. It's just normal, you can get it from any beauty supply store. And I like to take my Fix Plus and wet that sponge like this. And I'll just dab it on my hand so it's not too wet, but still damp. And then what I like to do is dip that into my powder. And I'm using the same translucent powder by Laura Mercier. So you've got a bunch of powder on that, and then I'm just going to apply that directly underneath my eye. And you want to be very generous with this. And don't worry too much if you get it all over yourself. It's just translucent powder. It will dust off straight away. Okay, so that's just how I bake my under eyes, and I do like to leave that powder on for a good 5 minutes. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm actually going to apply this powder on the other areas of my face, and I'll kind of like show you guys how I do that. So I'll take the same sponge with the same powder and apply it underneath the holes of my cheekbones. And this, when you dust it off, will give you that really sharp contoured line. And you can bring this in as much as you like. It all depends on how dramatic you really want it to look. But I'm not going to bring mine in too far in. Just about midway. And then remaining, I'll apply a little bit on my chin. The bridge of my nose. And also my forehead. And so you should be left with something like this. Okay, so I've let that sit there for a good 5 minutes, and now it's time to dust the powder off. Now, most artists, when dusting it off, will just take their brush and dust it off straight away, but I like to do it a little bit differently. So what I like to do is to take a coloured pressed powder. This is the Makeup Forever Pro Finish in the shade 117, and I like to swirl my brush in that, like so. Tap off most of the excess. Tap that baby. And then I'm going to take that and lightly dust off that powder in very light flicking motions. I do this because while I'm removing the powder, I'm also adding a little bit more coverage, which will really give you that really flawless, smooth under eye. I'm also going to do the same thing on pretty much every baked area on my face. But down here I'm also, instead of doing the light flicks, I'm also just buffing this off. It will give you that really soft kind of line. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That is all there is to it. That's how I do it. This is how I do it on my clients as well as myself. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new today, and I really hope that I was in depth enough for you guys. If there is anything you have questions about, or if you want to know anything or want me to go more in depth about anything, do let me know in the comments and I will be more than happy to answer it for you guys. I do see that I'm looking a little bit ghostly right now, but that's okay. I haven't contoured or anything just yet because I am doing another video on it. But yeah, I surprisingly didn't have a foundation color that matched me, which is pretty weird being a makeup artist and all. I just don't like to go in through my kit. Like, once it's in my kit, it's in my kit. I don't like to use it on myself. Is that really weird? I don't know. But yeah, I just went a little bit darker with my fake tan. Darker than expected, but you know, like, whatever. You live and you learn. But yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That would really help me a lot and it would mean the world. Comment if you have any questions. If you want to see anything else on my channel, for any requests or anything, leave it down there, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye!